Welcome to the Midlife Sex Coach for Women podcast, the only show that combines a fun personality, medical knowledge, sexual counseling, and life coaching together to create unique sex coaching that helps busy women awaken their libidos, address intimacy issues, and learn how to express their sexuality for the rest of their days. Here's your host, certified life coach and sexual counselor, Dr. Sonia Wright.
Hello, 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 Diamonds. You are listening to the Midlife Sex Coach for Women podcast, episode 222 with Dr. Sonia Wright. Wow. 222. That is really amazing. Welcome back, my Diamonds. Last week, we talked about the book Becoming Cliterate in the Diamond Intimacy Collective book club. It was a conversation that we had, and I was just so inspired by this conversation that I just wanted all of my diamonds to hear this conversation. So if you haven't listened to part A yet, I highly recommend going back and listening to the episode before this episode, because we laid the foundation for understanding pleasure, anatomy, and myths that may have shaped many of our experiences and our understanding about sexuality. And now, in the second half of the conversation, we go deeper. And this is where awareness begins to turn into ownership. Inside this discussion, you'll hear us explore how to advocate for your pleasure, letting go of shame and silence, and stepping into the new identity as a woman who prioritizes her desire. And it's not just about information. This is about transformation. Because when women understand their body and give themselves permission to experience pleasure, everything changes. So, as you listen, I invite you once again into intimate curiosity and also into possibility, because of the version of you who fully owns her pleasure, she's already with you. Diamond, she is here and she wants to come forth and she wants to engage and enjoy and be and express. She wants all of the things, right? So let's continue with part B of the Diamond Intimacy Collective book club on Becoming Cliterate. I remember years ago talking to my friend about an orgasm. She had had 4 children with her partner. And she wasn't quite sure what an orgasm was. Like, she's like, "Is that when you kind of feel a little, tired and exhausted?" You know? It's like, Like, if you need to ask what an orgasm is, you haven't had one. I mean, for the majority of people, if you she's like, "Oh, yeah, I've had that. Like, I've had sex and then, I was kinda a little tired," you know? And I was like, "Ooh, damn. Ooh, baby."
I had to come up and laugh a little bit at that. I mean, but this is true. This is so true. This is like the real conversation right here. The folks that don't know really do not know. I was there at a particular point, right? And during that time, I kind of had a curious mind and I kind of wanted to learn more. And then I started diving into different ways to kind of experience pleasure and I found some.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so
Yeah.
important. And then, like, getting back to the book, she really advocates for masturbation, self-pleasure, because we don't know what we don't know. If we don't know our own bodies, and this isn't even fair for our partners, right? We're like, okay, so okay, I've read this book, but I haven't really read it, and I sat there and I said, I deserve my own pleasure, but I'm not doing the work to know my body. And then I tell my partner, you need to give me the pleasure that I deserve, right? That's kind of
Mm.
just like one-sided in terms of like, now, hey, come on, let's go. But the part that's missing is you don't even know your own body, right? And once again, there's this narrative in society that says sexual, like self-pleasure, masturbation. We don't even use the word masturbation because it's got so much on it, right? Uh, that I prefer to use self-pleasure, just because as soon as I say masturbation, everybody's like, ah! If I say self-pleasure, they're like, well, wait. So they're like their minds are a little bit more open to hearing what I have to say. But the whole point of it is, if we don't know what our body is capable of, if we don't know how we generate the pleasure in our body, how is it that we're supposed to tell our partner? So part of this social construct that has happened where we have this concept of sex and sexual intimacy, it does nobody like what it serves nobody. It does not serve the woman. It does not serve any penis owners, like because we're not aware of how our body works, right? And if we don't know how our body works, then how are we supposed to tell our partner? So it does become so important that masturbation, self pleasure needs to be part of this. And I love how in this book, she has a whole section on it, and she's like a whole section of like, first you lie down, then you touch your clitoris or your vulva area, and then you rub, and then you see what you like. Make sure to look in a mirror and see it like step by step. Because if you don't have somebody that will tell you, and I always think about like, since I have sons, and I like from the time they're little, they love their penis and it's their best friend, and it's a magical thing right on their body. They're like, hey, look how this works, right? But girls are not given the same permission to explore their body. They have to do it in silence more times than not. And shame can be a factor in there if they have been told certain things, about what they can and what they can't do, and what good girls versus bad girls and whatever that bullshit is, So we're coming to a place where we realize there's an inequity here in terms of the balance of pleasure. And yet there's a bigger inequity, which is in terms of permission and understanding of how our body works and the pleasure that we are allowed to have, and how we can't, if we are not our own best lover, and I love this concept, if we are not our own best lover, we cannot tell anybody else what we like and what we need. Um,
Mm.
so that gets to be part of the scenario, is that we need to be comfortable saying, hey, a little over to the left and down, and oh, there you go. And like there's ways to say it. You can be like a little over to the left and down, dumbass. Or you could say it a little over to the left and down. You are such a fabulous lover. Oh my goodness. You're the best. You're so responsive to what I have to say that it makes sex just a pleasure. Like, just makes me want to do this more often. And once they catch the idea that, wait a minute, she wants to do this more often, all I gotta do is listen to what she says. What? This is radical. Sorry, I always like to amuse myself. Okay, let's see. Yes, yes. So like the water approach, self-pleasure lands in a softer way. It does, right? And that it's a shame that there's so much that has been tied to the word masturbation. And we could go down there. We could try to like pull all those things off, or we could just shift over to self-pleasure, self-razzmatazz, like whatever you want to call it. Happy hands. Your hands are super
Yeah,
happy.
what's your code word for masturbation? Razzmatazz.
Whatever you
Yeah.
want to use. Like, I think we should all come up with a code word on here, but like you get to have your code word. But what I do love is, what I love to think about is that our clitoris is within hand's reach. And so I'm like, hey, like there's a reason, like it's not on our toe where we gotta like lift up our leg to get to it or something like that, right? It's right there where we could just go, hey, how you doing today? Jazz hands, I am gonna tickle the ivory, right? That's there's what is it? There's like row on the pink boat. There's a better term than that. Then there's like the pink pearl, tickle the pink pearl. Like there's so many different ways to say like, talk a loving day, like you get to like
There's so many code names, and the fact that they're all code names is just so interesting too. Going back to just, how we've been, I don't want to say suppressed in the area of female pleasure and, just the clitoris in general. But it's interesting because the clitoris anatomy wise is the pleasure center, like this is the pleasure center. This is why the clitoris was designed in our makeup, you know what I mean? For pleasure,
Yeah, and
you
that, I
know?
mean, if you think about it, I mean, I love the fact that the clitoris is is embedded in the vulva, the outside, not within the vagina. And there's a good reason for that, because if you're going to have 10,000 nerve endings, do I want it in the middle of a passage where uh, uh like a baby the size of a football is coming out? Like, do I want that? Do I want my 10,000 nerve endings in there? Sure as hell no. No, I don't. Like, please. And I love how it's got like this perfect structure where it just bends up out of the way. The football comes out and it snaps back down. And majority of the time, it is not injured. How amazing is that, right? If you think about it, how amazing is you have a structure here that stays intact for your pleasure, right? I just love that. But, it's interesting. In the book, they talk about the anatomy, and they spend a lot of time talking about anatomy. And let's see if I can find the section on the anatomy, because I love, like, they're talking about the clitoris and where it's located. And then the full structure of the clitoris that has like the bulb and the legs and the glands there. This is on page 71. And then they go on and on page 74, they start talking about this G spot. I have mixed feelings about the G spot, right? The G spot is not a specific spot, first of all, but they're talking about something called the urethral sponge. If you can see it here, it's kind of got like the dotted stuff. And we need to talk about that a little bit for a second. I gotta say that I got some issues with the G spot. And once again, it's not the G spot's fault. Like, but there's a lot of shit that's been put on the G spot, and how it has been brought to light like as almost like the savior of the female orgasm, which is not true. But this concept that if you stimulate the G spot, you're gonna have this amazing orgasm. And also the G spot it's along the anterior or the roof, the top of the vagina, right? And so you have to ask yourself as well, why are we putting so much focus on this G spot when we know where the clitoris is? It's in the vulva, all on the outside. We can access it. This is really fabulous. But now we're talking all about this G spot, right? Which is inside the vagina. It's about 2 inches into the beginning of the vagina. It's hard for a woman to reach her own G spot. She's got to kind of go down and around and try to feel it and get it in there. It's good for your partner to reach it easier. But once again, we're told that the G spot orgasm is the best orgasm, or a blended orgasm, whereas the clitoral orgasm plus the G spot. And then we realize that the G spot is in the vagina, and stimulating it would involve penetration of some kind, right? And so if we look at reasons why we might be putting so much focus on the G spot, the G spot has done nothing wrong. And at the same time, I kind of resent the little fucker. And it has not done anything wrong. It's like, hey, I am not the problem here, right? And I'm gonna say, okay, I got issues with the G spot. The G spot is fine. But then I had so many women coming to me that are saying things like, I need to squirt. My partner wants me to squirt. He sees it in the porn stuff. And he's like, if I stimulate the G spot, I'm going to squirt. And then that's a better orgasm. So now there's another layer of bullshit on women, right? Like, we're just trying to have an orgasm here. We've already been told that our clitoral orgasm is not the right kind of orgasm. And now we're being told that you better have a vaginal orgasm, and add in the C spot that nobody in their right mind can find very well, because it's not a one spot. Some women have like great sensation when they feel the G spot. Other women, you can stimulate the G spot and they don't feel a damn thing. And that is okay. It has a lot of different functions. It's not just for pleasure. It's like this tissue that can get engorged that is around the urethra, which is a tube from the bladder to the outside. It gets engorged. It blocks off the urine flow. There's a lot of things that are going on with the G spot. Part of it is pleasure. Some people have innervation that makes it a little bit more pleasurable, and other people don't have the same type of innervation, right? And Treasure's saying, not another performance. Yeah. Before we end it. Yeah, like another performance. So now instead of being in our body, enjoying ourselves, we're up in our mind going, oh, please, where's this G spot? Can I come the way he wants me to come? Am I going to be able to squirt properly? Please. Like most people, if you are able to squirt, which is related to milking or stimulating this quote unquote G spot, it's usually about like maybe a teaspoon or so of fluid. Like it's not a huge amount of fluid, but most of the time they're pouring water into the vagina before they do a shoot on a porn site, right? So then they start the camera rolling and stuff is gushing all over the damn place, but they put the water in there into the vagina. It's not this little teaspoon of water that's coming out naturally. So yes, maybe some women can squirt a little bit more than others, but a lot of the time it is more about fluid that they've already put in the vagina that is squirting out, or they're urinating, So please understand that another construct has been layered on top of women and sex and sexuality in terms of, can you do this as well? If I'm so busy trying to figure out if I can squirt and if my G spot is being stimulated and all those things, how can I just be in my body enjoying myself? Right? Now I'm worried, can I squirt? Can I squirt enough? Does it look good enough? You know? I'm like, I'm tired. I think I'm just gonna go watch Netflix over here. No, I don't want to chill. You go over there. Like there's so many things that it just gets to the point where you don't want to try it. So if we have this concept of sex and sexual intimacy where we can expand the ideas around it, then we can kind of go from there and we can get to this concept of like, hey, however you get your orgasm gets to be great. Like, how about that, right? How about whatever way works for you works for me, right? And in the book, she talks about the play with the different acts, right? And I love this section where she's talking about, let's see, it's Act 1, fooling around for 20 minutes. This becomes, kiss, stroke, grind, roll, take each other's hand, do all sorts of fun things, right? So Act 1, fooling around for 20 minutes, doing whatever it is that you want to do, right? And then play 1, the you can come first. So the woman comes first in this act. So she has her orgasm whatever way works for her. And then if it's a heterosexual type of thing or whoever is into penetration, then the penetration can ensue at that point in time, right? Then there's another part of this play where you come second. So the woman comes second. But it's like the concept is still there that the woman is going to come. It's not optional. She is going to come. It's just what order, right? So you have the fool around stuff. And then in this play, your partner comes first in whatever way works for them. And then you come, right? But it is required that you come, right? And then this other next play version would be only you come. I gotta like this one. Because so often it's the other way around, right? So what would happen if we're like, yeah, I want to fool around, but I'm kind of tired. I wouldn't mind coming, and then I want to go to sleep, right? So then it's kind of like, okay, well, let's do that. What would that be like? Even if it was like once or twice a month, you know, it was you fool around for 20 minutes, you come and boom. You guys had to have fun. And then play number 4, you both come. She says you come together. The only concern that I have about with this concept of coming together is that it puts it more performative. And once again, it's like, I think what they're saying is that you both come at whatever pace or time or whatever, not specifically simultaneously. But sometimes there is this concept that it has to be simultaneous. And if it's not simultaneous, then it's not good enough, or it's not the right kind of pleasure, or it's not accurate, because you both didn't come together and the stars and the sky didn't open up and music started playing and all that bullshit, right? Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because I'm a little cynical. But my main point being, I just want to make sure that women have their pleasure, right? It works well for everybody involved. And our partners are fabulous. I really need to call out and give like a thank you and a celebration to our partners. The majority of our partners care so much about us. They recognize it's an honor for us to share our body with them. and they just want your pleasure too. But they've been given a script, and most of the time the script says that there's penetration and everybody orgasms together and everything is fine. And then you don't know how many women come to me and they want coaching and they feel like they are not enough because their partner may have mentioned once 10 years ago. Like the partner's not even aware they even mentioned it. But it has been living rent free in this woman's mind for 10 years that um, their previous partner was easier to get them to come. Right. And so 10 years they're sitting there going, I'm just not good at this. His partner before could come really easy. And they're sitting there like, I don't understand why you can't come. My other partner would come after 4 minutes, or after 30 seconds, right? And you're like, maybe she did, or maybe she just didn't want this to continue. And so she's like, oh, oh, that was fantastic. you know. And so this woman for 10 years is thinking that she sucks at doing this. And the majority of the time is the previous partner uh was just like, I'm just not into this. Let me get this over as fast as I can. So there's a lot that we don't know. If we could go back and find the other partner, maybe we'd be like, hey, did that really happen that way? And they might be like, oh my goodness, like they were just such a bad lover. And I was just like, I love you. And I don't want to sit here for the next 20 minutes. I want to go get my nails done or something. So, that might have been it. You don't even know what's going on. And so from that moment on, you're spending all this time trying to make it work, trying to do what the previous lover did, and you're not able to. And you're up in your mind, anxious and worried that you're not doing enough or you're not good enough, instead of being just down in your body, enjoying yourself and saying to the left, and down a little bit. And you got this. All righty. And let's just talk. Let's be real. Let's add some toys in there. Like I am always, always advocating adding toys into the mix. Adding toys into the mix. I think that that's something that's very important. Okay, we're down to like the last 10 minutes. Anybody else want to talk about something?
One of the things she said was important and relevant to the differences so that um, penis partners could come in 2 to 10 minutes, whereas women might take up to 45 minutes.
Mhm.
But we've heard women speak of uh, if they're taking 20 minutes to 25 minutes, then this is taking too long
Mhm.
because I'm taking up too much energy. I need too much, whatever. Something's wrong because this is taking too long. Um, and sometimes you can think, why is he such a hurry? Oh, because didn't have a whole lot of control over this, and it's about to take off and leave without you.
Yeah, there's a lot that you're bringing up there, Sporty Spice. Like part of it, especially when we get older and we get into midlife, our partners, if they have penises, may have issues around erections. They might have taken that little blue pill and it had a certain short life, and they're like, I got to get this going. And so it rushes things up. Or maybe they're not taking a pill, but they kind of need to, but they're like gonna wing it and see, and they know that, okay, I got an erection now, we gotta make this work. So that could be part of it. And then as you're saying, like if the woman has in her head that she's not doing it right, she's taking too long, all these thoughts, how are you going to get into your body to enjoy yourself? Like you need to be able to settle your nervous system, settle into your body, and enjoy yourself in order to be able to have this orgasm, right? And also, yeah, it might take her 45 minutes because she's not getting the type of stimulation that she wants, but she's also not saying something about what would be really good and helpful for her stimulation. Maybe she needs some stimulation to her anus, but she's in a lot of shame because she's like, oh my goodness, no, I can never really tell somebody that I kind of need that, right? So there she is, maybe having an orgasm or not having an orgasm. But if she were able to have the conversation and feel okay and understand that all the innervation to your vulva, which includes your anal region, is all interconnected, right? And what we're talking about here is a network of neurons and a network of pleasure. And how you're made, it may be such that you need stimulation one place versus another. And if we could, if we're talking to a penis owner and we're like, okay, this is the equivalent of like you rubbing here is not doing it for me. It's the equivalent of me rubbing on your thigh and wondering why you're not coming. Right. So, like, if we can put it in a perspective that they can understand and be like, oh, I'm not stimulating the right place for the way this person's neural connections are made. Like, if we could just do it that way, as opposed to putting all sorts of stuff on it, that there's a one right way to do this. So there's a lot of reasons why this woman might be taking 45 minutes. And then also, we also get to say what's wrong with taking 45 minutes, right? So that's
Exactly.
another thing that so we get to say, ask that person if they're taking 45 minutes. Is this when you're self-pleasuring yourself? Does it normally take you about 45 minutes, or like 30 minutes to 45 minutes? Is that kind of the amount that time that it normally takes you? And if she says yes, then that's just how long that she takes. Put that into your concept of what sex looks like with this special, unique, wonderful person, that there's going to be the 45 minutes that you'll need to, and we have this concept that if you have an erection, it's got to be used right then and there. Like, erections come and go. Like, it'll be back, it's gonna come back. Like, so it's okay. you know like, he's going around the block, they're coming right back. We're not gonna worry about that. So if you have an erection and you're in the middle of pleasuring your woman and you're 20 minutes in and you got another 25, don't worry about it. You don't got to keep that erection going for 45 minutes. Let it rest for a while, you know and then also understand that for women versus men, or penis owners versus vulva owners, like, the way the sexual response cycle for a penis owner is there's this period of engorgement and stimulation, and then there's a plateau, then there's an orgasm, and then there's a refractory period where they're down and out for the count, and you just can't get that thing back if you want to. But the way it works for women is, there's that orgasm, and then they don't have a refractory period, so they can have multiple orgasms if they want. So if she takes 45 minutes to get to that place, but she has 30 or like 10 orgasms one after the other, hey, we get to celebrate how she's made and how that's amazing, right? And who's that lucky person that gets to have sex with her because she's going to orgasm like 10 times, and be able to share that pleasure with her partner. So we get to kind of look at all these different ways that it is. And one thing I like about this book is it has a whole section on it for our partners. And so I think that that is very important. So it's near the end. I think it's section 5, but let me see what it is. You don't have to have a clitoris to be cliterate. Clitorisy for him or for whatever partner you have, right? And that starts on page 199, 190, yeah, 199. And basically, if you're male and you're breathing, uh, you know, you're reading this chapter because you're interested in sex, and I guess that means you're male and you're breathing. That's how she starts it off. But female pleasure, the fiction, and we need to recognize that porn is not good or bad or one thing versus another, but what it is fiction. What it is entertainment, and what it is not necessarily factual. So we need to be aware of how a woman's pleasure and her orgasm is depicted, and even her body, really. There's a lot of people that have had labiaplasty. So the way their vulva looks is not actually what the average woman's vulva looks like. So now we have a layer of shame about how our vulva looks, because the labia, the inner lips or the outer lips, have been cut down so it looks nice and trim and beautiful, right? That's crazy, because a lot of people's lips, I'm going on a tangent for a minute, but give me a minute. Like, if we're looking at the vulva puppet, this is the outer lips, these are the inner lips, right? This is the vagina here. And sometimes when the vulva is all like closed up like this, uh then the outer lips can go out beyond the inner lips, and people have a concept that that is not uh, aesthetically pleasing. And sometimes a person that might have a longer inner lips than outer lips, maybe they have been teased by their sibling, or or somebody else, or told that it doesn't look right or it's a problem. And so they will not have sex with somebody because they're in so much shame about it, what it looks like. And then they will go and get labiaplasty. And then also porn stars will go get labiaplasty as well. So they'll cut down their inner lips. And if you think about this, this is like this, the inner lips are analogous to the head of the penis. If we're talking about embryologic, the tissue, right? Imagine if we suggested to somebody, the head of your penis doesn't look really appealing to me. Could you get that cut down or changed in some way? This is what's happening because we are looking at what porn looks like and saying that this is what we should look like. So it's very important to understand that and to see that what that's happening. So, but also to recognize porn is fiction. And so we need to be aware of that. So she talks about female pleasure and the fiction around it. She talks about penis size and the facts around pleasure. And she has like a little graph here about really have ever had an orgasm with a partner, intercourse plus direct clitoral stimulation, having an orgasm, and percentage of direct clitoral stimulation alone, right? So I'm just giving some information and then just giving some pictures and some basic things. So sometimes it's like hand the book to your partner. And if they just want to read this one section, it's straightforward. It's got information on it, and it helps them give them the main points. Okay, alrighty. Let's see. It's so interesting that having a preliminary sex talk about pleasure, around pleasure and pleasure with your partner may have been skipped. Yeah, so that's an important aspect, and that gets back to that people have hard times having conversations, right? And so part of the work, like if you're doing a hit it and quit it, you're just getting on Grinder or Tinder or whatever, and you just want some sex, and you're just like, hey, then hey, you get to decide. But if you're in a more committed type of relationship where you want to have more communication, or you're going to be seeing this person more often, then yes, I would say no matter what the situation is, you get to have conversation about it, but you get to choose. But if you're going to be in a long-term relationship with this person, definitely communication has to happen, right? I think it's so fascinating and leaves room for exploration. This is the fun part, depending on the approach and each partner's willingness to understand and engage in pleasure-centered experience for both parties. Yeah, definitely. That's real because the circumcised penis versus uncircumcised is a little different. It's a lot different, right? There's like a whole movement of people that are trying to get their foreskin back, to grow it back, because they feel that they've lost sensation in their head, because they don't necessarily have that tissue there. So there is a whole movement of people that are trying to grow their foreskin back to protect their head of their penis so that it will have more sensitivity and stuff like that. All righty. Wow, we are just about at time. And once again, we've been talking about becoming cliterate. We're going to have to make a decision as to next month's book. So if you have suggestions of things that you would like to read, then let's bring it to the collective and come up with the next topic that we're going to be reading, because I love book clubs. I think that you gain a lot of a different kind of information in a different way. And it also leads to a different type of conversation. And always, I am Dr. Sonia. I am the midlife sex coach for women. Yes, I am also a coach if that's not known. And I do private coaching as well as doing this group in the collective. Okay. Love you all. Take care. All right, my beautiful diamond. If you love this conversation, if something sparked inside of you, if you found yourself saying, wow, I've never heard women talk about intimacy like this before, then I want to personally invite you into the space where conversations like this happen all the time. The Diamond Intimacy Collective is my private community for midlife women who are ready to reclaim their pleasure, deepen their connection, and step into their most empowered, confident selves, both inside and outside the bedroom. So inside the collective, we have monthly book clubs just like this one. We have live Q&A calls, and we also have coaching, and we also have our pajama party, which is just girl talk. We get together on Saturday morning. You either wear your pajamas or sweats or just whatever you want, and we talk about all different things, and we have a great time. So this is intimacy education the way you were never taught. And it's a supportive community of women who are walking through this journey right along with you. You don't have to figure this out alone. And you don't have to stay in a place of confusion or silence or disconnection. Your pleasure matters. Your voice matters because you matter. So if you're ready to take this work deeper, come join us in the Diamond Intimacy Collective. The link is in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you and to welcome you there. Take care. Dr. Sonia out.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Midlife Sex Coach for Women podcast. If you enjoyed Dr. Sonia's fun and caring approach to sexual intimacy, head to soniawrightmd.com to learn more.